All right, Yusuf, you're welcome. I guess Yusuf just joined us. Um, all right, so today we're going to be reviewing the task that was handed out on Monday. Um, but at the end of the class on Monday, Olamide asked me a question, and I said I was going to um, first of all address Olamide's question before proceeding with um, critiquing your work. All right, so Olamide asked a question. He said, I've noticed that you haven't been strict or critique our choice of colors in our previous task. I want to ask if that is intentional, and I would like to know if you have any material or lesson prepared for us to guide through color psychology in logo design. I personally have a problem in my color stage, sir. All right, so um, there are different aspects to Olamide's question here. First of all, we want to know why I haven't spoken about colors as of yet. Now, and that's a very good question that Olamide has asked, and that's a very good observation he has made. The truth is, design and the approach to design, like every other thing in the world, keeps evolving and keeps changing. So you see, in the early days of design, I mean, let's talk about early 90s. I'm not talking about real early days, not the formation of design, but let's say when people started going into core branding, which was like early 90s. That core branding, corporate branding became a thing. And then people came up with this color psychology thing. And then it was all about yellow is playful, red is passionate and energetic, blue is corporate, green is for growth and stuff. All those things were the initial introduction to the psychology of colors at the early stages of branding. Now, the truth is that the world has changed. People have changed. The number of companies we have out there has changed. And so the approach to design too has changed. And that's why in this training, the approach to design, as you can tell from the task that you've been given, has been personality, feel, emotion driven. So when you are designing for a brand, what you're trying to find out is the personality of the brand. So not only have I not really emphasized color, you see that I've not really emphasized even shapes. You understand? So you realize that, oh, earlier on they'll tell you, oh, squares are for this, circles are for this, triangles are for this. Now those are good, but with the way the world is right now, so many brands out there, a lot of things have come and they've kind of broken the rules of some of these things. And so we cannot be operating on that old approach to design anymore. Um, so right now, you would realize that a lot of the projects you've done, almost nobody has gotten a color wrong. And that's because the approach now is you are thinking of what is the personality of the brand, what is the feel of the brand, what is the feel of the brand. That is what that's how we're approaching the projects now. So you're thinking, is this brand, is it masculine, is it feminine? Okay, it's feminine. What kind of female is it? How old will this person be? What are the characteristics? And then you begin to think of everything around that brand, around that personality. And you realize that along the way, that will inform the color you use. Subliminally, you would be directed towards the colors that will best suit that brand. So it wouldn't be a mechanical thing anymore of, oh, this is a corporate brand, so it must be blue. Oh, this is a playful brand, so it must be yellow. Oh, this is an energetic brand, so it must be red. You understand? It's not going to be that robotic approach to design anymore, where you are not actually interacting with the brief and trying to feel the emotion to see what is is appropriate. And you know, with colors nowadays, things have changed. In the 90s, colors were red, yellow, blue, green, and pink and purple. But now we do know that there are other colors within the spectrum, and that's because we've entered the digital age purely. So we have teal, we have maroon, we have turquoise, we have lavender, we have lavender, we have other colors within the spectrum that were not accommodated within that red is for this, blue is for this. So where do we now put those colors? And that's why it is the feel. And that's why you look for photos to guide you. It's from those photos that some of you will pick your colors. From those photos of that sunset that you pick the shade of yellow you want. Is that photo of that flower that you pick that turquoise color instead of that sharp blue. You understand? And that's where branding is richer. So you see, we can't teach colors anymore because there are just so many colors. It now has to be your intuition as a designer that would guide you to get the personality right. Because you know what? We can say yellow is playful. And that's true. Yellow is playful to an extent. But when you think of brands like Amnesty International that uses yellow, is it a playful brand? No. They deal with really serious subject matters. Oppressed people, people that have committed war crimes, genocide, and they are using yellow. Where does that fall into? So you see that Amnesty International has a deeper meaning of that yellow than yellow is playful. It goes against the grain of the 90s way of branding. And that's where people kind of have this um, unempathetic way of branding, where I would say, oh, this is a feminine brand. And immediately people just think the brand has to be purple. You see, it just shows that there is no interaction to understand the brand better. And that's just assuming that every girl likes purple and every girl likes pink, sorry. And pink is appropriate for every girl. So once you say it's a feminine brand, pink comes. There's already a preconceived notion. But the truth is, in the world we are living today, there are girls that like blue, there are girls that like green. You understand? So that pigeonholing of a demographics is very, very unempathetic. So you need to understand this particular brand. What kind of girl is it? Is it a pink girly girl? Is it a blue, outgoing, outdoorsy girl, adventurous girl? You know, you need to think about it because blue can be appropriate for a feminine brand. And if you think of a brand like Tiffany's for it caters to the female audience, but you see that they use blue. Their boxes are blue. They own that powder blue. You see, it's from the personality that they came up that they came up with that they realized that, oh, we should use blue, not pink, because we are thinking of the mature woman who can afford our jewelry, who is not trying to be too showy. She's already comfortable in her femininity, and they want to show some strength through that too. So you see how the personality can guide you in coming up with colors rather than, oh, I need to know what this color means. And then you become so rigid in the fact that this is the color I'm going to use. You see, another thing is that with the fact that there are so many brands out there, some people just choose colors to stand out when they are put against their competition. So if you look at the like maybe the construction industry now, there are people that have been using blue for a long time. And Caterpillar came and saw that, oh, there was so much blue in there. They said, okay, let's go against that blue and use yellow so that we stand out in the construction industry. You can see how the color wasn't chosen because of the psychology of the color, but because of their positioning in the market. So they realized that if we want to stand out, let's go against this grain and own a particular color. So if you look at it now, in the telecoms industry, you have so many people using, you have MTN already using yellow. You have Glow using green. You have Airtel using red. You have Etisalat using green also, green and black. But you see, if I were to come to the telecoms industry now, I'll probably come in with a blue or something. Do you understand? So that I can stand out. And so if we are having like a trade fair or something, they can easily pick out, oh, this must be this new telecom by their blue. Just the way you can pick out MTN with their yellow. You understand? So it can be for various reasons. It can be for personality reasons. It can be for brand positioning reasons. But you see, I don't want us to be so rigid about colors. I want us to take time to think and be more strategic about colors than be more educated in a rigid way where we kind of feel, oh, we learned in class that you shouldn't use blue for feminine. And that doesn't just work anymore in today's world. So I hope that kind of answers your question, the first part of your question, um, Olamide. Now, Olamide said he has issues with choosing colors. Now, we need to think of what those issues are. And those issues might arise from your approach in the first place. Because when people say they have issues, it's because now they're thinking of colors outside of personality. So they are choosing colors rather than being led to a color. And that's it. When people tell me they have issues with color, that's what I see. Because you get to a stage where we have to choose a color, as opposed to this is the color that actually works, without not even choosing. From look at all these photos we've seen, what is consistent with the look and feel? It is blue. So it's not a matter of, okay, let's sample blue. Does blue work? Do I like blue? No, no, no. It's not a matter of what works from the personality and the information that we've collated. That's how you know what color to use from your research. And you would realize from the review on today's submission, that a lot of you chose colors. Your colors were almost all the same. Almost all the same. Some people went outside. But it showed that the colors that you chose were informed by something. And that's what I'm going to address in today's review. Um, so yeah, uh, I would try to see if I can share some things on colors with you, but they wouldn't. What I would try to say, they wouldn't be all those things that I used to saying, because there are a lot of those articles that are just so rigid. Blue is this, black is this is this, this is this. I don't want you guys to. I want you guys to think freely. Everything is there for you to use. But you use it with an intention of why you have a why. There's a why to your your reasoning, as opposed to a, an information that has been just computed into your mind and you don't break out of, because that causes a lot of friction with clients too, where the designer is just like, oh, we learned this, and the client is saying it just doesn't work. You understand? And a lot of times, what I got to realize is that a lot of things that we complain about when it comes to clients and designers, clients have been more right than we have given them credit for. And I've been in that mindset too, where I've always thought clients were wrong. But just learning and opening up my mind to design, I realized I now see where clients come from when they have disagreements with us as designers, because we are so rigid to what we've learned as opposed to what the client is telling us. That's the most important thing. What is this person trying to communicate? And how can I use my skill and knowledge to arrive in an organized way at a solution that this person will be satisfied with? But a lot of times, what we do as designers is hire me and I will tell you what your solution is without any input from you. So just tell me what you do, and then no more interaction with the client. I'll just give you a solution and you're meant to take it and go. You understand? So that's like an unempathetic approach to design. I'm the professional, so shut up and pay me. And we can't do that anymore. You start losing clients. You lose clients to AI very easily. AI doesn't argue with clients. It doesn't argue. What AI does is it gives them options of things that work for them to choose. And then the more specific they are, the more it will go into his database to get something that works for them. And that's why if we keep working like this as designers, we will lose out to AI eventually. So you must be more empathetic and just say, let me listen, because a human being will always win over a computer if the human being is willing to be empathetic. You understand? And that way you can say, oh, I understand. Oh, I've had this experience too. A computer cannot tell you the experience they've had too. You understand? But then we must get our preconceived notions out of the way and just take time to learn. And that's where you get to enjoy working as a designer for years. Because every experience is a new interaction with a client as opposed to an opportunity for you to just do the same machine way of approaching design. That's when design gets boring. All right, so let's quickly jump into the submissions for today. I'll begin to share my screen, if that's okay with you. All right. Share screen. All right. I hope you all can see my screen. Okay. I hope you all can see my screen right now. Okay, so we'll go right into it. Let's start off by reading the brief again. All right, so Nigerian Television Authority (NTA) just got acquired by global media giant Comcast in a multi-billion-dollar acquisition deal. Comcast is looking at repositioning NTA as the leading online platform for African content. NTA will be broken down into subsidiary units, namely NTA News, NTA Sports, NTA Kids, and NTA Urban. This move is greatly inspired by Comcast's 2018 acquisition of Sky Group and would want to rebrand NTA to fit the Sky personality in both look and feel: dependable yet exciting, mature yet fun. NTA would no longer be an acronym, but now the official brand name. Design a new brand identity for NTA that visually communicates a modern, dependable look, can easily accommodate brand affixations, e.g., news, school, sports, kids, and urban. Try out visual illustrations of how these would work with the proposed identity. Present a mood board showing the desired brand personality and keywords. All right. So you see, this is a very it's probably the longest brief we've had, but that can be deceptive in a lot of ways because a lot of people now see, oh, this brief is so long, the work is so much, but then it is one of those briefs that is an open book test. It's an open book test, and that's one of the things that I'm going to be judging today, because they've already given you the look and feel. This is one of those briefs that creatively they've set you on a path. You've already been set on a path. So what I expect to see from your presentation should not differ too much from what Sky has. Because they've already told you, we want it to look like Sky. In look and feel, it should look like Sky. So I expect Sky to be a template for all of you. And this is where I expect your designs to almost look alike for this submission. Because if Sky has not changed, then your research, if it's Sky, should almost be the same. In terms of choice of color, in terms of where your affixations look, in terms of typeface, in terms of casing, it should be like Sky. Because they've told you we want it to be like Sky. So this is not where I expect to see new groundbreaking ideas. This is one of those projects that might sound lengthy, but the most important thing they've told you there is the look and feel they are going for. And they've told you what that look and feel looks like: Sky. So this is one of those projects where the client will approach you and tell you, I have this company, look at this logo. I want it to look like this. The problem is some of us designers get into that mode of they don't really know what they want. Let me show myself. Then you go away from what they want. And the client keeps coming back. This doesn't look like what I showed you now. I want it to look like this. But you're like, no. We can't be copying these people now. Let's come up with our own genuine idea. And then when clients fire you for something you could have just done easily. Open book test. It's an open book test. They're not looking for any spectacular creativity. They've already told you, I want this thing to look like this. That's what you prioritize. How do you make it look like that and still own it? It's a mistake I've made too in my career. When people would tell me, I want this thing, they come, they've done their research. They say, we want it to look like this. And then I just go, and that ego part of us just wants to do work that is unique. And then you veer from what the client has said. And no matter how beautiful it is, the client will still tell you, no, this is not what I showed you. Make it look like this. I see designers complaining about, can a client come and show you something and say, yes, they can. They actually can. They can show you, this is what I want it to look like. Then you, in a way, would use it in a way whereby it is something they can own at the end of the day. But in the end, when they look at it, they see what they requested. But even in this kind of brief, Comcast already owns Sky. So there's no plagiarism there. They own the two companies. They want their two companies to look alike. Do you understand? So you need to think of it in that sense. So if you already doing a design and your design doesn't look like Sky, then those are the things you're going to be approaching. Why your design doesn't look like Sky when the client has told you they want it to look like Sky. All right, so let's look at who. The first submission was from Larry. And Larry, your keywords here are adaptive, modern, dependable. Adaptive, you use the color of a chameleon. The modern, I like the SETI you've chosen. Dependable, I like. These are really intelligent photos you've really chosen to interpret these words. Very intelligent photos you've chosen. Where dependable is that sunrise, and you can depend on the fact that the sun will rise every day. You understand? That's very dependable. Your modern too. You've chosen something that is out of the box for modern. The adaptive, I like that too. And those are strong keywords, and I agree with your keywords. You understand? I agree with your keywords on that. So you have this logo. I think your logo is very nice, because the truth is, the first thing I did when going through this was I tried to check for Sky brand guide, and that's the first thing I expect anyone to do when doing the research on this, because they've restricted you. They've told you. They are not saying they want it to be like the other ones where they say to be the Dom Perignon. They didn't say they want it to be Dom Perignon in look and feel. This ones I've already told you they want you to be Sky in look and feel. From what I see here, the color scheme already looks like Sky. You understand? So if I put it next to Sky, you can already see that the inspiration is Sky. And that meets what the client is asking for. The client will see this and they'll be happy, because they will see Sky there. So let's try to look at Sky so that we know we're not just jumping at straws here. Okay, so if this thing would open some time ago. Open now. All right. So this Sky, and this is their brand guide on their website. It's open. It's open information. And when you're doing your research, the information is there for you to use. So don't be a hero. Don't want to create something new. They've told you what they want to look at it. You can see their colors. Those are their colors. They have this gradient of a color of a thing working for them, which you can see is what Larry has done. He has used the gradient. So I will applaud him on that. Lowercase characters. The same thing Larry has done. Lowercase characters. I applaud him on that. The way that he has connected his T to his A, very similar to the way they've connected their K to their Y. Similar. I applaud him on that. You see, he has done what the client wants. So you see, for this project, it's not about, Larry might have been working on this thing and he might not even like the design he has done. It doesn't matter. What matters is, are you checking the brief? Put yourself last. So some of you walked in and I don't really like this design. So some of you might look at this Sky design. You don't like the Sky design. That's okay. You're a professional because you can work on what you don't like and still deliver. So it's not a matter of you liking sky design. The client says they want sky design. You work on that for them. So you see, you can see the way they have their affixations. It's consistent in terms of hierarchy. The hierarchy is always sky to the far left, the affixation far right. Most of the time, the affixation comes in this triangular, in this rectangular container. So let's see what Larry has done. So you see, Larry's stuff is pretty similar to what the client has requested. So Larry's submission works. It's as simple as that. I don't need to ask Larry any questions. It works. He has done the job. He has done the job. It works. That's a good presentation. That's a good solution. So you see that it looks like a very long brief, but in the long run, we're not checking too many things. It's very easy to know whether you got it right or wrong. And I'll say Larry got it right here. So, sorry, 1 minute. All right, so we're looking at flow. This flows work. So flow, dependable, accessible, mature. Dependable, accessible, mature, good keywords. I agree with your keywords. Dependable, I like the fact choosing a dog. That's good. When we look at mature, accessible, I like the images you've chosen. But when I look at the images, I look at it, I can already see that there might be an issue with the way the images are, with the tone of all those images. And that's why you kind of look at the image and like, okay, do they fit into? Because when I look, see Larry's own, you could already see the color palette jumps out at you from what he has done already. The color palette jumps out. You can already see from his images, you can see some level of vibrance there. But you can see the color palette that's coming out from yours. There are a lot of deep browns and stuff like that. It already subliminally is working on your mind already. And that's where we come to your design. And when I look at your design, I look at the sky design. First of all, I'm looking at the colors don't match. And when the client says look and feel, you've gone outside the feel, the vibrant feel of sky. Do you understand? It's an open book. They've told you sky looks dependable and fun. They've told you already. So that is, and they say that they want you to copy that. So I expect to see that multicolored design in your presentation. Now, I said for this presentation, I expect to see a lot of designs that look similar. Because sky has not changed. The reference has not changed. So the only thing I can take from here is sky. I look at, you used a serif font, and sky is sans serif. Those things are important. So you see that this design is very new. These are the kind of designs you go into the meeting with the client and your heart will be beating. Because you really can't defend if they say, I don't see sky in this. What do you tell them? There's nothing to say. It's very hard to defend it. This is when you start giving your own pitch instead of saying, this looks like sky, this looks like sky, this looks like sky. Can flow to the mic. Flo, can you hear us?
Sir.
Flo, how are you doing?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I'm well, thank you.
I'm the client now. I'm the CEO of Comcast. I'm looking at your design and I can't, in my own opinion, I can't see sky. Tell me where sky is here. How does this have the look and feel of sky? Defend your work.
Do I define it like you haven't made corrections early on?
Hey, Flo.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, Flo. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, okay. I started off reading the brief, and honestly, I really didn't prioritize Sky Group as one to look out for. So the keywords from how I started were the things that actually led me to where the design I came up with. And so dependable for me was one of the keywords I chose, right? I also looked at mature and then accessible. And so that was the reason I came up with the design, really. Because now that you said you don't see Sky in there, the only things I've been able to pick out from Sky is their subsidiaries, which I used in the news, the sports, the kids, and the urban. But ideally, I didn't prioritize Sky Group in the design. So
So,
basically, that's what I have to say.
okay. All right. So you see what I'm talking about now. That you remember when I was talking about keywording, and I told you that your hottest keywords should come out from those things that the client tell you. We want to be like this. That's the hottest thing. When they start saying we want to be positioned like, take those things very seriously. That is their wish list. You understand? So if you are Santa, just imagine you are Santa Claus. That wish list, I want a Barbie doll. Eh? Yeah, and you get the child a teddy bear. The child will be disappointed because they've told you exactly what they want. You understand? So you need to, number one, you know that I need to get a doll. Now, is the color of the doll's hair? Those are things you now have to figure out based on the child's personality. Should it be a white doll or a black doll? A doll with blonde hair? A doll with brown? Those things you can now start figuring out with your mind. But then the first thing the child told you, I want a Barbie doll. You cannot go outside of a doll. That's the most important information. All those other things you can defend afterwards. But once you get a teddy bear and the child wants a doll, what do you say? Nothing. There's nothing you can say. You didn't get it right. So you see, when the client tells you, we want to look like this, we want to be positioned like this, you prioritize that over any other thing they're saying. All other things, some other things are just distractions. You understand? That it was bought for $1 billion might be a distraction. Those are things that at the end of the day, cherry on the top. But remember, the core thing, what they say they want, we want Sky. So when you go into the meeting with this, they're like, oh, this doesn't look like Sky. We told you want Sky. And those things annoy clients. Like you didn't listen to them. That's what they feel like. You didn't listen to us. So they want to have that feel that you understood them, you listened to them, you were empathetic with them. One thing I would say is that with your brand extensions, it looks like Sky. You understand? You got that right. I only wish you spent more time getting that Sky logo. Now, that said, I want to address your logo in itself. Let's forget about the brief now. With that logo, one of the things we've done is that T. hmm, it's when you design a logo and you have characters like that. You don't want any character. It's just like you're taking a photo. That T looks like if N and A, they are the family. That T is the houseboy. You just don't need to sound at the back. They don't care whether his face shows. You understand? Every single character, try to celebrate them. Let them, they're like a photographer. You understand? Try to let everything have a presence. That T has been chopped up by the A. And it's important that it shows because when I look at it, if I look at this if it was on a car and the car passed by me in like 5 seconds, can I say that NTA? You understand? That might be hard for me because that middle bar in that is very important. That hook at the bottom is important to a large extent. But those are the things you cut out. If you look at land reason, you can see that even though you have jointed, everything looks like if they have equal presence. So you don't think of that when you are doing logo design and you have characters there. You understand? Don't compromise the character too much. And you're not the only person that has done this. You will see that as we continue to go on. But those are my thoughts on your design flow. The A is so emphasized. The A is so emphasized. Even the thickness of the A. If you look at this, what we have right here now, you see how thick that A looks. I see the A first. It's like the A paid you extra money to put it on that design. You understand? And no, you don't want to do that. Everything needs to be balanced. It needs to be balanced when you're working on it. All right. So next person is great. So great, dependable, modern, exciting. I like the fact that you all came up with this. See, the keywords are very, because it's an open book. It's dependable, you see there. Modern, you see there. The third thing you guys are going towards that exciting, all those things are. So I'm agreeing with all the keywords so far. I can see somebody helping somebody up. I think that's dependable, fun, modern. I like the choice of your colors. Your black and white scared me when I looked at it, because when you choose images, I kind of get concerned about where your colors for your logo would go eventually. And when I looked at it, I can see here that the same thing, almost the same thing as flow, where your color scheme has not reflected your research on sky. So when you look at it, the same thing I kind of find here, where originally, look at the sky color scheme. You look at their website, they all have this gradient thing going. So even if you didn't do a multicolor design, I expected at least to see a gradient from one color to the other. That would tell me that there was a research done when you were working on trying to imitate sky. But when I look at yours, I don't see that. I don't see that. I see that one color, although there's a blue gradient to a darker blue gradient, but it's not strong enough. You understand? It's just a monochrome type gradient. I wish, just the same way as flow too, I wish you had researched sky more. You understand? I wish you had researched sky more. It doesn't look like sky. It doesn't look like sky. Again, what you got right was their fixations. You did that right. That works. But the original logo itself doesn't have that sky feel. Even when you look at your kerning, see how much space there is between your characters. See how much space there is between the sky characters. You understand? Those are the kind of things you kind of imitate when you are working. So I would have loved to see an attachment, whether the N to the T or the T to the A. You understand? This is where you copy as much as possible, because the client has told this is what we want. This is what we want. And that's what I feel you could have done. Great. So it's the same thing as I said to Flo with yours. It's pretty much the same thing. I really feel you missed out that information of what the client says we want, and you didn't prioritize that. You understand? So there were some distracting things like when we were looking at that dependable and stuff like that. But they've already told you what the idea of dependable is. You understand? And that's what you now take and you run with. All right. So that's for great. Olamide. So here's Olamide's presentation. Olamide, your keyword dependable, exciting, modern. Good. I like the images you've chosen, although you put a watermark on the images. That was not necessary. Not necessary, because it's distracting from seeing the images. So, but I get it. I get what you're trying to do. I like the fact that you put some attention to your presentation. I like that fabric on top and stuff. Yeah, it makes it looks African. I like intentionality about it. And when I look at your mark, I can see that you've tried to imitate sky. I can see it's obvious from what you've done. I can see that gradation in your work. It's not as strong as sky, but it's there. It's not. It's not. It's not very different. I can see the fact that you try to connect characters to. You've gone for lower casing. You've used a sans typeface. You've done a good job. You've done a good job in following the brief, and that's cool. You've done a good job. See, so I can easily say this meets the brief. It meets the brief. The only thing I'm going to tell you is just like I was telling um, um, Flo that just be, you need to be careful how we compromise characters. So as much as we want the design to be interesting, you need to think: will people see that T easily? Will they read that thing as an N easily? You understand? Have I compromised some key characteristics in trying to do this? But I like that you've attempted to join these characters to see how the N can connect to the T. And that's one of the lessons we did in that kind of when we were doing joining of characters and come up with letter marking. You can see that Olamide has used some of that his knowledge to creatively join the N with the T. You see, that's why everything we've done in the past adds up. Everything we've done in the past comes to play. So don't forget those earlier classes we had. Um, so Olamide has done well. I like the fact that he has done this is urban news, kids. He has done a very good job. One thing I like about Olamide's work is that he has even gone as far as copying the reflection on top of the sky logo. You see what they have? Let me try to. See this thing it has going on here? Sky has it going on here. Just above their own logo too. So you can see that there's an intentionality in his approach to want to get that sky look and feel. And so I applaud that for Olamide. You've done well on that. Um, I think it's a good attempt at solving the brief. All right. So who's next? Sorry, 1 minute. Um, all right. So next is Shegun David. Shegun David has keywords. Keywords are modern, exciting, mature. He has chosen 4 keywords. We said 3, but he has chosen 4. But I'll take the keywords he has chosen, and they're all very relevant keywords, strong keywords. I like, you see, I like his design. His design has a sky feel. So when you look at his design looks almost similar to Lanre's design, almost similar to Olamide's design to a very large extent, where they have that connection and stuff, but very similar to Lanre's design. And that's what I expected to see. Some very, very similar designs because you all have the same context. So he has that going for him. However, before I say it, you already know what I'm going to say. The color is not reminiscent of sky. The color is very reminiscent of the present NTA we have, the present NTA color scheme. And we say that color scheme doesn't work. When you look at sky, do you see present NTA color scheme? No. So it should have been a very, very well done um, project for Shegun David if Shegun had followed the sky color scheme. Is Shegun here with us? Shegun David. All right, Shegun, can you come to the mic?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Shegun. How are you doing?
I'm good, sir.
Okay, Shegun, what informed this color that you chose?
Okay. Well, I when I made a little research about NTA, I think that was why I included African to to the keyword because I discovered that
Wait,
the
you
NTA
made research
was,
about what?
you know, sir.
No, I said you made research about what? Who did you make research on?
I said I made some research on NTA.
On
I made some
NTA.
research on NTA.
All right.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay.
So I discovered that the colors, were the reason why they chose the color was the the channel was focusing on Africans.
Hmm.
You know, they were focusing on Africans, so that was why they chose those two colors. So I felt that okay, that since the new the new company, since Africans are are their target. So I felt that okay, let me just maintain, so I don't just deviate totally from from the color we know NCA to be.
Okay. All right. So I get you, Shegun. The only thing is you have spent too much time researching the wrong subject matter. They've bought NTA already. The NTA that we have, they bought it. Now they tell you that they want it to look like something. So that way you spend the most time on. You understand? That way you spend the most time on. Not the old thing, but the new thing.
Okay.
You understand? That's where your most of your attention should go. Because the client is telling you that's where they are going. So you see, if it's just like you're traveling somewhere, if you want to travel to London, eh, the pilot should be more concentrated on going towards London. What are the countries we will have to go or fly over to get to London? Not what are the countries that we fly to get to Nigeria. You understand? So the client is telling you
Okay.
that look, we are leaving NTA, we are going towards sky. So then you need to now research sky. What are the things that can take from sky? You understand? What are the things? And especially
Yes, sir.
when the client tells you, I want the look and feel to be that of sky. If they say they want the feel, that's a different thing. The feel is different. You say just the feel. That means that when you look at it, you can see something that feels like sky. Is an emotion. This your design might go for feel. You understand? As a matter of fact, if I look
Okay.
at great design or close design, I might look at the feel because they've gotten the feel. You understand of sky in terms of how sky is a letter mark. It has affixations. They've gotten the feel, but the look is different. So when they say look and feel, they mean that not only should it convey that emotion, but it should also look like it visually. So that's where I see that. That's what I saw that was missing from your design. Other than that, you have a
Yes,
good
sir.
design. I just switched the colors. I further um, emphasized the look of sky. All right, so let's go. Let's go on. Dotun is this Dotun's design. So Dotun, I didn't see Dotun's keywords for some reason. Is Dotun here? Okay, Dotun is not here. Dotun is not here. All right, but I'd like to ask her why she didn't send her keywords. But just looking at it, you can already a lot of you already know what I'm going to say. It's very easy because it has gone against the brief in different ways. Number one, there's a sentence case in there. The N is big, the T is small. If only she had made that N smaller, at least we'll get that look and feel of sky. Now, I really wanted to know why Dotu went with the uppercase N. I really would have liked to ask Dotu why she decided to go with the uppercase N. She has also not gotten that colorful, vibrant feel of sky. She has gone with this strong royal blue. Number two, she has totally turned everything on its head in terms of she has put the NTA in a blue rectangle and has put the subsidiaries under it. That's not reminiscent of Sky at all. That's why I said this is an open book. Sky doesn't, Sky don't present their stuff that way. That's not Sky. It's not them. So you can see that it's pretty obvious that Doctor has not researched Sky or didn't research Sky deeply enough. And that's why this design doesn't look anything like these designs. They don't remind me of each other. And that's what the client will say, you got it wrong. So no matter how beautiful your tool's design might be, if it doesn't meet what the client says they want, it's a waste of design. It doesn't work. So I guess that's about it on just tool design. All right, so this is a design from this is submission from James. Is James because no. Okay, James is not here. Okay, James is here. James is here. All right. So this is James' submission, and his keywords: dependable, modern, fun. So you all have the keywords going. So people say dependable, modern, exciting. So your keywords are very accurate. But when you look at James's his selection of colors, you can almost tell immediately that he will get the look and feel right. So when I look at your choice of photos for the mood board, I can almost tell before I go to the next image that this person will get it right. That's how I could tell that Flo's own was not good in multicolor. I could tell that Great was not good in multicolor. Immediately I saw their images. It's very hard because that's your mood. And that's why that mood board is so important. That's the mood you are going with. So immediately I went and I look at James' presentation. I can see that James has done his best to model his design after Sky. He has done his best. He has done a good job in modeling, in following the brief. And that's where, you see, James still has some technical things to iron out, but he will get better the more practice he does. But what I'm trying to, I'm thinking what I told you last week, it's not about how beautiful it is for now, because you'll get better. It is the structure, it's the foundation that you guys lay. How able are you, how efficient are you in listening to the client? And James has done a good job. I can see that he has done his research. When you look at it, he has done the same thing. He has that same gradient, that glossy feel on top of the NTA that Sky has. So you can see that, you can see he's the one that has even gotten the color gradient well. You can see he has been so intentional on going from that red or orange to that blue, which is exactly what Sky has. So you can even see when I place them together here, you can see how similar they look. You see how similar both designs look. Now that's someone that has done the job. He has done the job very well. The only thing I look at is when he's doing his subsidiaries, he has encased some and he has not encased the other. He has put urban under and he has put some beside. I wish James had made the format or template for the brand extensions consistent. If he had made it consistent, he would have totally got that Sky look and feel. But as for the logo, he has done a good job. I feel like he could have fine-tuned it a bit in joining this. So I can see these edges here. In joining the A and the T, there are some edges here that need work. You understand? If that was smoother, it would look more professional. It would look more professional. That happened. So you need to learn to do stuff like that. If you look at Larry's work, Larry was able to get a better transition. Oh, sorry. Let's go back to Larry's work. Look at Larry's work. Now see how smooth his connection is. That's how smooth yours should be too. But that takes practice. And I'm sure you would arrive at that the more you practice. The more you practice on your work. All right, so well done, James. You've done a good job. Yusuf Olamide, your keywords: modern, exciting, fun. Good keywords. I like your images. Your images look good. And you have reflected the colors. You can see what I was saying about people that choose these images. The images guide them when they are designing. But then, when I look at your design, you have totally designed something absolutely new. It doesn't have the look and feel of Sky. As a matter of fact, it has more of a look and feel of NTA. So you have been influenced by NTA the way it is. And that's what Comcast is trying to do, is break away from that. So you see this constructed letters you have done were not necessary. All you needed to do was to use lowercase letters. Your color scheme is so on point. Very good color scheme. You have that sky color scheme going. But then you have gone ahead to construct instead of just choosing a font and using lowercase. You would have solved the problem. Another thing I see is your affixation, your brand extension. They look more like the way NTA is right now than the way Sky joins their stuff, which I think is something you should have followed. You see, if you had done that, this job will be taking more check marks than what you have done right now. But aside from the brief, one thing I want to let you know, I want to talk about your design now. Let's forget the brief. When you are designing, don't design in a way whereby it can be misinterpreted. So, does this N look like N enough if I didn't know it was NTA? It doesn't. It looks like ATA. Because this N looks a lot like this A. They both have that thing going. So this looks like ATA. Now what you need to ask yourself is, does this little thing take my mind away from the A enough? No, it doesn't. This thing is too small. It's too small to dissuade me from thinking this and this are the same. They look the same. So you need to be careful with that when you are designing. When people read it, it must look like NTA. If I brought this up a bit, just a little bit, it will look more like NTA. All right. So next is Tohib. So Tohib has gone for African, dependable, modern. Good keywords. He has black and white images, but at the same time, he was able to use a colorful mark. And Tohib already knows what I'm going to say. So Tohib, can you come to the mic? Is Tohib with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Tohib. All right. So please tell me what you feel I would say concerning this, your design, based on what I've said so far. What have you done right? What have you done wrong?
Going uppercase throughout, and the gradient transition is not smooth enough.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
I said going uppercase completely, and the gradient is not smooth enough.
Okay. And what about your casing?
That's what I'm talking about. That is going uppercase
Okay, you said
throughout.
okay.
Yes.
I can't hear you clearly. Echo you here. Okay, so you can see you use upper casing, and you can see that Sky doesn't use upper casing. So you've gotten that multicolor feel, but at the same time, the casing is wrong. So you need to copy Sky some more and not look at that casing. Another thing, when you look at this, one thing that confuses me about your presentation is either you're giving me options or you're not sure of what it is. Now, which one am I going for in your affixation? Is it this one or this one? because there are two
Okay.
different representations.
When I
So it's
check
either you're going,
Sky, okay,
yeah, go ahead.
when I check Sky, there are times that they represent those affixation like the one above and also the one below.
Let's look at it. It's hardly ever like that because this is their website. Oh. This is their website. So they are telling you if you want to download their logos, these are their official logos for their content. Now, I understand what you're saying, but you're going for the exception rather than the norm. You're talking about maybe their TV idents sometimes. You have that thing on top and another one. But that's the secondary, those are very secondary marks. When you look at it, this is what they are telling their vendors to use. Their TV idents, they might have other ways because they want to manage space. But then officially, this is how they present it. It's very horizontal. So you see, there's no need for this, for these top ones that you have here. No need for these things. You present this and present this confidently. This one's work. This square shaped stuff that you're doing. Those are exceptions, if ever. But I know that when they do show their news, sometimes when they are doing their opening montage, they might have this thing going. But it's the exception, not the norm. You hardly have it like that. And it might only be for TV, for their news that they do like that. You understand? So don't get distracted by what we call the black swans because it looks like that doesn't mean that is how it is that they represent themselves usually. So the horizontal ones work, but the main thing I'm looking at with your work is if you had done lowercasing, this would have worked better. This would have worked better. All right. So that's Tawheed, and this is Ezekiel. So Ezekiel, modern, exciting, dependable. Keywords are right. Images look right. But then when we look at your logo, it doesn't look right. Now, Ezekiel is here. Let me ask Ezekiel. Ezekiel, can you come to the
I'm
mic?
here, sir.
All right, Ezekiel. I want to ask you a question. Did you research Sky at all?
Yeah, I did, sir, but it wasn't. I actually didn't have enough time. Like I was just engaged, so I didn't really have enough time to look
Mm.
deeply into it. But I went over the website though.
Yeah, so you just glanced at Sky, or you just remembered, this is how Sky looks in my mind. But there's no way you will look at taking time to have looked at these guys like this. And this available information available is right on their website, and you come up with this. They're so different. Look and feel not the same at all. You see, I'll tell you how, and this is for everybody. If you want to be good at design, first of all, I'm reading a book right now, and it's talking about if you want to be a master at something, there are three stages. And let me, I want to say it accurately. I don't want to paraphrase it. So just give me a minute. I want to try to get the three stages out for you. Okay. All right. 1 minute. All right. So there's a book I'm reading called Mastery by Robert Greene. It's a good book. Anybody that want to read it, I'll recommend it to you. Read it, Robert Greene, Mastery. Now, it tells you that if you are in your apprenticeship stage of learning a skill, there are three stages of expression. The first stage is what is called deep observation. It's also called the passive mode. Passive mode, deep observation. At this stage, all you are doing is looking at how things are done. You are totally forgetting how you do things. You are totally submissive or submitted to how the experts do things. You look at it and you copy. You copy. Don't try to be a genius. Just copy like that, word for word, copy. That's the first stage of being a master. This first stage, a lot of us don't use it. That's why we do never get to a stage of mastery. We want to, from the first stage, become creative, do genius ideas. Says, first of all, you handle your genius ideas. You don't do it. You copy the masters letter for letter. And then you go to the second stage after you've learned how to copy. It's called the skill acquisition stage. Skill acquisition is also called the practice mode. It's called the practice mode. This is the mode whereby you begin to practice small of your ideas. You begin to just put some of your ideas there. You understand? Whereby you learn the master, then you begin to put a little bit of your ideas. You practice with some of your ideas. Then you get to the next stage that is called, we call the experimentation stage. It's also called the active stage. And this is where you go full in to how you do things. This is how I do it as Ezekiel. This is my, so when people see it at the active stage, they can look at your work and say that's Ezekiel's work. It's how that's Ezekiel's work because it looks like Ezekiel's work. That's how it works. You've already developed a style, but you don't start out developing a style yet. First of all, you copy. Then you try to tweak in your practice stage. You don't release your tweaking out to people. You just be tweaking in your privacy. You tweaking in your privacy after you copied enough. Then you come out with your full chest and start doing it the way you know how to do it. Then you have a style. It's the same thing everywhere. Even in music, this thing works for any career you are in. There was a time when P Square, all they did was dress, sing, and look like Usher. People used to mock them a lot then, that they are Usher wannabes. Everything was like Usher. Their production style was like Usher. The way they dress, they're Usher. The way they sing, like Usher. But they were a poor imitation of Usher. People used to abuse them. But would you listen to P Square now? I don't know if they are together or not, and think of Usher. No. They've developed their style. Nobody compares them to Usher anymore. You can't compare them to Usher. But they started from that first observation stage, which is where I will advise you, Ezekiel. When you're just starting design, and I can see that you're just starting design, you understand? You're not deep into design yet. Copy. Don't stress yourself too much. Just copy. And I'll say that to everybody here, if you're just starting, just don't feel ashamed copying. Just copy. That's why when I was looking at James' work, I uploaded James' work. James looked at Sky, he copied it. If he continues to copy like that, you'll get better. A time will come when you become uncomfortable with copying. You yourself, you know, okay, let me try out this thing. Then you begin to try out. Then you keep practicing your own style in private. Then you get comfortable. Then you begin to apply your own style. And when you begin to apply your own style, people will notice your style. So even if they were to travel abroad and see your work, they'll say, this thing looks like Ezekiel's work. I'm sure it's Ezekiel. And we do it every time. You can hear a song and listen and say, this is this person that sang this song. And that's why you see that even there's some songs there. I used to listen to R. Kelly then. R. Kelly can write a song for somebody. When you listen to that song, you're like, R. Kelly is the one that wrote that song. It's the woman that is singing it, but you know it's R. Kelly that wrote it. Because the style is in there. He has already developed a style for himself. But if you listen to early R. Kelly when he started, he doesn't sound like any of these people. He doesn't sound like what he sounds like now. He didn't have a style. He was singing like other R&B artists then. He just developed his style as time went on. So that's what I'll tell you. This thing, what I expected you to do, Sky, go there. See how you can copy their style. Just look at it. What font looks like this cinema font? Check your it's a very if it is Calibri, whatever, just copy that Calibri. Look at their square. What does that square look like? Oh, it's not sharp. It's a little bit. Copy it. Copy. By copying, you get better. You get better by copying. Copy. We did this thing now when we were in class the other time. We were talking about letter marks. I gave you some stuff. Go and copy. And I gave the same talk about copying. It's very important. Don't let anybody shame you into not copying. It's from copying that you become a master, because copying is your passive stage, your observation stage. You get to that stage where you get your active mode, but not now. You're not there yet. So if you had done that, it would have helped you a great deal in the presentation of this work. Because see, your color scheme is totally off. It looks very Nigerian. It looks very green, white, green. And that's the brief has said nothing about it looking Nigerian. Nothing. They told you they want it to look like sky. That is when you start getting to work. When you start, just follow what the client is saying. Because after this class, even now, not even after the class, some of you will start taking work from clients. If you're not going to get in trouble with clients, first rule of thumb, what is not important to the client is not important to you. Follow the client like this. Follow them. What they are saying, just follow them. When you become an authority, things might change. Where the client starts to listen to what you say, it becomes good because you did it. But very few people have gotten to that stage. I don't know anybody that has gotten to that stage where client doesn't argue with you anymore. Client just say, if he gives you the stuff, just go and. There's some fashion designers that have gotten that stage. They don't ask you what you want. You come to them, they look at you, and they tell you to come back in 2 weeks' time, and they give you what they feel is right for you, and you don't argue. You take it and you go and wear it. But for those people, the pride is that it's this guy that did it. We've not gotten to that stage yet. Clients will still argue with you. When you get to that stage of absolute mastery, people will take what you give them based on that. But for now, you need to listen to clients very well. You need to have those conversations and please them. Please them. Because you are so replaceable. You are so replaceable. So replaceable in today's world as a designer. So you need to give them a good experience when they are working with you. And one of the best experiences you can give anybody, not just clients, your friend, your spouse, you understand, is to listen to them. That's the best experience you can give anybody. Give them your attention and show them that you listen to them. So those are my thoughts. Ezekiel. All right, so Razak just sent in his this evening, but they told me that we're going to send in his late. So it's good to get your work, Razak. I hope your exams are going well. So we'll start with. All right, so Razak, dependable, exciting,
Good evening,
modern,
sir.
mature. All right. So I can see your keywords. Keywords are right. I look at your images. You're cool. But then the same thing I'm going to say, Razak. You've been in this class. You heard what I've said. The look and feel is not sky. So we can see that the look and feel is not sky just by looking at it like that. It's very, very hard to marry these two together. It's not sky. As beautiful as this logo is, remember, we're not trying to create beautiful logos. We're trying to solve problems, get solutions to brief. There are two different things. Not creating beautiful logos. We're trying to help a client solve a problem. And they know their problem, and they've come to you as somebody who can help them solve it. You see, when we look at this, it's not. I like the symmetry in your design. It's very symmetrical, very clean, very balanced, but then doesn't solve the problem. So the clients will not approve it. They're the kind of ones that annoy you because you know how much work you've done to go in your portfolio, but it'll never be used. They won't approve it. They won't, because it doesn't meet what they want. The color scheme is dark blue, very against the vibrant color of sky. Very against that. It doesn't work. There's no connection between the letters. No connection. They all stand out. They're all on an island. So it's almost like you have designed for yourself, Razak, which we do a lot. We design for ourselves. We design to impress ourselves. If you put this on any design community, they will tell you, nice, bad guy. But bad guy doesn't work. Your client doesn't pay you for it. It doesn't work now. Just be a bad guy, but then you be poor guy because nobody will pay. You understand? So what you want to get is at the end of the day, the work they will do and they will pay. Very important. Very important. The way you've done, I like the way you've done your brand extension and fixation. They're good. But just that the main one doesn't work. It's your idea. It's your brief you've solved, but not the client's brief. So sometimes, as I said initially, you do some work that you yourself feel like, I don't really, it's not like if I liked it. If I had my way, I wouldn't do it that way. But the truth is, after talking with the client, I realized that is what they need at the end of the day. That's what they need. You understand? You see, we are not doctors. We're not doctors, to be honest with you. Doctors can override their clients because that's the life and death. Do you understand? The client cannot just come and say, I want this. Or their patient cannot come and say, I want this. Because if the doctor does everything the patient wants, the patient will die. But us, we're not there. There has to be a middle line between what they want that you should be able to give them and what you want. There has to be. So when people say, when we I used to do that comparison too. But a doctor can do this. Will somebody die from having a bad logo? How many people have died from having a bad logo? A lot of bad logos out there now. So many bad ones. NNPC is not so good. But they're still making their money. But people die from going against medical advice. Very few people die from going against graphic design advice. So let's not compare ourselves to them. We're not them. Their work is much more serious. You understand? But for us, we need to be able to find that middle ground between what the client wants, because there's a lot of aesthetic feel, and you just need to be able to listen and say, what do they want? And sometimes you have to compromise your own sense of beauty to understand their own sense of beauty and functionality and accommodate it at the end of the day. And that's empathy. That in itself is empathy. Compromising that your own, suspending yours to allow theirs. That's how you make it in this business. That is what AI does. And that we cannot be in a position where we are one of the people that will retire because of AI. No, AI should enhance our work, you understand, rather than retire us from our work. So, so those are all the submissions. You guys have done a good job. To do the work and submit is applaudable for every single one of you. I'm proud of you guys for doing the work. That's good. You get better the more you do. Remember, we are learning. And you go into the real world with these experiences and some of these things I've said. You go into the real world with it. But you've all done well. You've done well. And I hope you've all learned something along the way, and something you can adjust. For any one of you that feels like you've seen it, see, I was it Tohib that did it the last time. Oh no, I think Tohib did great. You've seen the work where you feel I've seen it and I want to correct something. Go ahead and see. So you can see, like Razak is doing, correcting the stuff. That's cool. We are getting closer and closer there. It's getting closer and closer there. We still look at the uppercasing type looking mark. You understand? When you look at that, it doesn't have that yet, but it's better than this. You understand? So I like what Razak is doing by going to just edit his work, because sometimes you feel like if I got it. If you've got it, just go back and edit. Feel free to go back and edit and submit back. If you feel, oh, I remember to go and retouch my work, oh, here's what I've done. Then you're telling your brain. It's one thing to tell your brain, okay, I got it. It's another thing to tell your brain, oh yeah, let's do it to prove that we've got it. Because sometimes I think you've got it, just like asking for somebody's name. So I say, oh, my name is Tola. It's okay. But you see, when you tell your brain, repeat that name, your brain will store it some more. So you tell your brain, we've learned the name right now. Yeah, let's act on it. Well, Tola, nice to meet you. Your brain will store it more. So some of you think, oh, I've heard what Mr. Tola is saying. I'll do it on the next project. No, you can do it on this project. Do it on this project. this on this project. Because the truth is, we are going to our last week next week, and it's not going to be like normal weeks like we've done it so far. Um, I want you guys to go through. We're going to spend Monday, Friday talking. I don't believe it's about work. We're not going to end with work right now because you have the rest of your life to work. I want us to talk on Monday. So as much as possible, I want you guys to take time, be in class on Monday. There's no hassle. We're going to talk. If you have questions, ask those questions. Come to class with questions, whether they are business or design questions, career path questions, whatever questions you have, just come. We're going to take time to talk, answer questions. So come if you have questions. Please come with your questions on Monday, because those things are more important. Those things might be more important than all these things we are talking about, logo design. Everything you want to ask about billing, about dealing with clients, about how to work-life balance, all those things. Let's talk. Let's actually spend time to talk on Monday. You understand? Let's spend time to talk on Monday. All this work we have done, you practice them, but I believe Monday let's get to talk about business. So any question you might have about business, let's talk about it. It's very important. So come to class on Monday with your questions. So if you have any questions, if you have any questions on what we've done right now, come to class on Monday with it. I won't ask you to ask your questions now. You understand? So if you have technical questions, to come and ask. But I want us to talk more about the business. Very important part of it that people don't prepare themselves for. So let's talk about it. We'll talk about it on Monday, talk about it on Friday too. And we'll see how it goes from there. All right, guys, that's been great looking at your work, critiquing your work. I hope you've all gotten what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to pass across. And I'm proud of the progress you guys are making, but you make more progress by practicing each and every day. All right, that'll be the end of today's class. Thanks for taking the time to be part of the class. Josh, it's good to have you. Ezekiel, good to have you. Remember what I said, Ezekiel. That passion, that passive stage, don't forget it. Copy as much as possible. Tohib, good to have you. Thanks for taking time to be part of the class. Your work was good, just like that lowercase. You should have gotten that. Flo, remember when you read the brief too, read the brief. What are those high keywords? What does the client say they want? Listen to them before you just start to designing what you want to design. The same thing I said to Razak. The same thing with Great. James, you've done very well. You've done very well. I like the work you've done today. Very, very good work. You understand? You followed the brief, you researched, and it showed in your work. You understand? Don't worry about your technical skills. They will get better. The more you continue to look at good work and try to copy it, your work will get better. Olamide, your work was good. Larry, your work was good. Yusuf, I mean, everybody has done really good work. Just continue at it. Let's come to class on Monday with our questions. All right, take time to listen to this class again and see what you can get from it. Have a nice weekend, guys, and I'll see you guys on Monday.